And good morning. Welcome to Local Talk here on Next Door Radio. Hope you're having a beautiful day. Happy Friday to you. Right now, 10:05 here in the studios. If you listen back to our podcast, that is the timestamp. It is 69 degrees here in downtown, beautiful Oxford. Right now, it's time for Behavior 911 with Kellie Siphon. She is with Applied Behavior Happiness. Before we kind of dive deep into that, let's once again introduce you as only you could, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Trey. So I am Kellie Siphon of Applied Behavioral Happiness, where we partner with parents to overcome challenging behavior through skill-building programs and play. If you're seeing a bunch of whining, tantrums, meltdowns, having a tough time at school, having a tough time at home, give us a call. We can help.
Fantastic. So we came up with the idea of having Behavior 911. You sent that title over to me, and I just thought that was one fantastic. So really, what does that mean? Why choose a name like that for a show like this?
Absolutely. So a lot of the calls that I get are, holy smokes, we've hit the end of our rope. We don't know what to do. We really need help right now. And I wanted to make sure that I had a time and a place where I could provide that help. So if people have something coming up where they need assistance, they need advice immediately, they know that they can call Next Door Radio, and on Fridays, first of the month, they'll be able to get that 911 help, that immediate advice.
Fantastic. Also, we're going to be announcing a couple different things. You have a beta testing a program coming on. We're going to be able to use a specific coupon code that we'll give out at the end of this show. But, of course, this is also recorded, so you can listen back. This is by way of all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, all that good stuff, of course, on our website. So let's kind of really our first topic here today is we had a conversation this past week about, trying to get the transitioning from my 5-year-old into kindergarten, from kindergarten to home, the transitioning wise. Let's kind of dive deep into that if we can.
Absolutely. So we've got a couple big transitions here. We've got the big transition of summer into school. We've got the transition from home in the morning into school in the morning. And we've got the transition from school at the end of the day to home at the end of the day. So let's start with that first one, because a lot of people are going from summer into school. If you haven't yet, starting a couple days early, getting to that routine of getting up, getting into that routine of what we're going to do in the morning to make sure we're smooth and we're practiced before we get to the day of. Think about it like practicing before you get to the Super Bowl. You got to put a little bit in ahead of time. It'll pay off in the end. If you're already going, make sure you've got a bit of a routine. Now, this is a super common piece of advice, and it seems so simple, but so often we'll let that fall into our day-to-day and melt away, and we'll lose that routine. It makes such a difference if we can keep just a couple elements.
So, again, Kellie Siphon joins us here. She's with the Applied Behavior Happiness, and this is Behavior 911 with Kellie. Of course, give a few tips on that aspect of it. We're talking about the transitioning side, because I'm using this as a personal, trying to figure out what to do as a father. But give some tips along the way, really in the early stages of that.
Certainly. So in the early stages of that transition from summer into school, and let's focus in on that morning time, we're going to want to make sure that we're getting enough sleep. So when we're talking little bitty kids, we might be talking 12 or more hours of sleep. So making sure that we're good on our sleep as well. We want to start looking at nutrition. Do we need to have any testing done to make sure that we are in a good spot for nutrition? There are 3 things that I saw recently can really affect behavior on the nutrition side: folate, B12, and zinc, as well as a little bit into that iron. You want to start making sure that vitamin D is the other big one. Do we have enough? Again, don't just go and start supplementing everything. Check with your pediatrician. But if you're seeing some trouble in that transitioning in the morning, some nutrition or sleep could be a part of that. And you can really make some big steps forward checking in with your pediatrician.
Fantastic. So the morning time, you wake up, you get excited to go to school. You got to sing a little morning song to them to get them excited. But then it gets to the school itself.
Yes.
What next?
All right, so if you know that your child has a lot of trouble waiting in the car and it's going to be a long drop-off, think about what you can do to make that time special. And my suggestion would be special without a screen. Now, I know that is a huge ask, and for some families, a screen is going to be the perfect choice. No shame. And for others, as soon as you give them the screen, they're never going to want to get out of that car.
Yep.
So other things we can think about is having soundtracks to favorite shows or movies playing. We can have special games that we play just in the car. I Spy is a good old classic. Different things like that to be able to spend that time in a special way, keep things calm, and make us ready for that transition.
So I'm gonna bring my wife, ask her a question. She's over here in the corner. I know you can't see her in video, but we talk a lot about our biggest thing is I give him the phone. Let's be honest. I give him the phone because, like you just said, it is the easy
no
thing
shame
to do. You don't have to worry about him talking your ear off in the back seat because he loves being in the far back as most as possibly. So, who's right here? Remember, she's not here, so don't go on her side. But
you're asking her, but she's not
that's
here.
right.
Okay.
So so who is right in this situation? You know, she likes to. Hey, we're gonna play, like you said, we're gonna play a game. We're gonna listen to music. What is your favorite music? I'm gonna just keep it quiet. Let's put it.
Sure.
Am I wrong? Am I right? How does that work?
So you're not wrong.
See,
now, this comes down to a couple of different things. You're not wrong, but I'm also not going to be like, oh, yeah, you're perfect. No, because it's family to family. It's person to person. So there's a couple things we want to look for here. Like we talked about the last time I came on, family values. What is the biggest value for your family in that moment? Are we expressing those values by going, hey, quiet time is a high value for me? That's what I need. Great, fantastic, continue. If you're going, man, I really want connection, but I don't have the capacity to make that connection in this moment. I just need quiet. All right, then let's talk about how to make sure you have the capacity to fulfill that value of connection in the moment. So there's no real right or wrong here as long as your child is able to transition well and healthfully. If you're noticing now that on the days where you bring him in, he has phone in the morning, he has a worse day, then we need to talk, you know?
Yeah, I know. I hear you. I hear you. Again, this is Behavior 911 with Miss Kellie. She is Kellie Siphon from Applied Behavior Happiness, and you're tuned in to Local Talk here on Nextdoor Radio, nextdoorradio.com, the Nextdoor Radio app. We're talking a little bit more about the transitioning from the morning drop-off at school. Now it's time for after school, and it's time to pick them up from actual school itself. What now?
So we've talked a little bit about chandeliering, I believe. Yes. That is also called restraint collapse. So all day I'm restraining, and then I get home and I collapse, and everything just falls apart. So what we're going to want to consider here is how do we make sure that the transition from school to home isn't a sudden crashing of a chandelier to the ground. So the image again here is we're holding a rope to a chandelier, and as soon as we get home we go, oh, thank goodness, we let go of the rope and it smashes to the ground. Well, that is the behavior smashing to the ground in that metaphor. How can we make sure that we do that more gently? A couple things we can consider. We can go through and have a special routine that is like a calm sort of meditative routine if that fits for your family. We can have a special song that we listen to on the way home that helps us make sure that we're transitioning in nicely. We can go straight into heavy work or a lot of exercise as soon as we get home. Blow that energy out in a healthy way so that we can come back in calm.
Fantastic. And Kellie Siphon, Applied Behavior Happiness. And then now it's bedtime. You go morning time, drop off, pick up from school, the nighttime routines. What are we thinking?
So the joy of nighttime routines.
No, I love snuggling. I'm not going to lie to you. I love the snuggle
There you
time,
go.
Even though I got upset with him this morning because he didn't give me any room in the bed. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I had even pulled Mama and said, look, this is what he did to me last night because I just fell asleep. But what is and should be the routine at night right before he goes to bed? Or he or she?
Certainly. There's a couple different things that we want to consider here. Again, I'm going to keep leaning into the values of the family. So some families that I've worked with say the value for our family is we spend an hour sitting together just in that community, having that moment praying, having that moment snuggling, whatever it may be. If that is fulfilling a value for your family, schedule it in and make sure it's there because you'll lose it if you don't. From there, we want to make sure that we have a fairly consistent bedtime, of course. And again, checking with your pediatrician. Is a low-dose melatonin a good idea? Is a magnesium supplement a good idea? Thinking about how to help them have a good night's sleep going through. Again, I wouldn't suggest just going for it. Talk to your pediatrician for sure. But when we're talking routine, we want to think about winding down. Usually we're going to want an hour to an hour and a half before to be able to be winding down energy. So that heavy work directly after school, that high energy to be able to make that transition. Then we're going to have the opposite right before sleep where we're trying to wind down in. Having consistent steps between, so we do teeth and then we brush hair, say, or we take a shower. Having those go in the same order is going to be helpful. For some kids, they're going to want to mix it up. So you can have some wiggle room if needed, but trying to keep that consistent through will help that wind down process.
Fantastic. All right, so offer some really insights, some tips on the full package, right? And I say that because you have the transitioning from school to after school and then to bedtime. What are a few things to really look out for and you can see the argument. You can see not wanting to do homework. You can see the physical stuff. But what else should we look for as a family or a parents to really say, all right, we need to fix this?
Absolutely. So those patterns, like we mentioned earlier, if you start seeing the pattern of, man, when he has more screen access, he has a worse day at school. Or man, when she doesn't have a couple of minutes to just sit alone as soon as she gets home, it turns into this massive argument every single day. Start noting those little patterns. What is connected to the more difficult days so we can get ahead of those things? What skills may be missing, like communicating how we're actually feeling those moments, or saying that you need a break instead of just trying to grin and bear it and then explode. Those sorts of little details along the way, noticing those little things, finding those little patterns are where the real solutions come in.
Outstanding. So we kind of teased at the beginning of our programming, Behavior 911 with Kellie. You're going to be joining us every single Friday for this Behavior 911 to really offer some insight, offer some tips, and I'm so excited to kind of welcome you back here next week. But we kind of tippy-toed around it. There is a beta testing program that you have coming up. Let's talk a little bit more about that if you can.
Absolutely. So this is the Secrets to Behavior Change, Mastering Behavior Change that will last. We want to make sure that parents are getting all of the experience, all of the knowledge, all the tools that they need to be able to make these big changes. So everything that I normally do in coaching or spend months working with parents on, I went, you know what, I could get this to you so much faster, so much more efficiently, and you could have access to me forever, lifetime access, if I put it into a course. So that's how it's moving forward.
Fantastic. And if you're listening back to this audio, the video by way of our social, of course, our website at nextdoorradio.com. If you use the code NextDoorRadio, we're going to use all caps there, 70% off for a limited time.
Yes.
That's phenomenal.
Yes, it's in beta testing. I want to get people in early so they know exactly what they're getting. They're getting first access. They can give me feedback and be able to be a part of creating this. And I'm so thankful for the help along the way. So, yes, you deserve every discount. Let's go.
Absolutely. And 70% off if you sign up right now. Use the coupon code NextDoorRadio. And I'm going to put this link on our website so you can be able to, a little easy access for you as well. But how can they get a hold of you, your website, and social media?
Absolutely. So you can find me on social media at Applied Behavioral Happiness. You can find the website www.appliedbehavioralhappiness.com, or you can call us 984-235-1058.
Ms. Kellie, thank you so much. I appreciate you. We'll see you next Friday for the Behavior 911 with Ms. Kellie. Kellie, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Again, my name is Trace Nine. Until next time, hey, God bless. We'll see you next time.